In this lesson, I'm just going to talk about some cursor options you've got, meta commands which show up in the head section of your HTML plan, iframes, and maybe a little bit about some general information on using APIs, application programming interfaces. So I can connect to Google Maps or I can connect to Google Earth. Okay, so let's go ahead. First thing is cursors. By default, I don't know if you can see in the video, it looks like a little eye there as a cursor. I don't like it. You've got a bunch of options here, so let's just talk about it. I'm going to do this as simply a span, so it just goes over text. Style equals, and then put your cursor, and you're good to go. What type do you want here? This is the only thing unique. I'm going to use help. I can't spell help. Help, there you go. Again, I don't think I need it in quotes because this is one word, and do help. And then slash span. And then just to start a new line, bracket slash br. I'm just going to do a couple of these. The entire listing is in the notes. I think there's 20 something. Control C, Control V. Let's do help. I want to do, I don't know, crosshair. Crosshair. Again, I'm not going to change it. You can also change it to my notes. I think I went ahead and changed the, this help, so it's crosshair as well. Let's do one more, and we'll call it a styles on cursor. Okay, Control V. I'll make this one now. I don't know. Wait. Let's do wait. So it allows you to control what the cursor shows up. A lot of times this has to do with some APIs like drop and drag, which I'm not going to get to this year. I just had some personal issues, so I was gone for an extended time this semester. I wasn't able to do like the Google Maps APIs and some other things. Actually, in my heart of hearts, I would like to go ahead to Control S while I'm talking, and then let's play our web page. There you go. Help. Help. So there you go. It's under, my cursor goes over my help. It's help with question mark. Go over here. Now it's a crosshair to move. Crosshair. Sorry. So I got that target there, and then move it over here, and I get nothing. Let's go back here. Did I spell it? Oh, I should have had that little wait cursor. Wait slash BRBR. Do not know. Crosshair. Don't think it had to be in quotes. So anyway, let's go ahead. I'm just going to change this to, I don't know, pointer, just to make sure. I'm not sure. I should expected a wait. Pointer. Control S. Just refresh. Again, sometimes in my notes I put it in quotes. Yeah, there you go. Crosshair, and then here. So the hand shows up. I'm good to go. Okay, so there you go. So there's my three options. I've got the entire 25 listed. Next thing I want to talk about is the meta command. The meta commands are basically nowadays just used for basically two different things. Okay, meta shows up in the head section, so it shows up here, and for the most part, you got a couple of things it does. Number one, it either redirects you to another site, so you've got a URL, that you bought a URL, you bought another one, you want to redirect people from the old one to your new one. Meta is what can do that. It can also determine how often you refresh. In the back of the day, it was able to control how you cache certain parts of your website. Cache means it puts it in very quick memory on your local machine. That's sort of going away. It's going more towards what's called service workers. Chrome, Google is pushing this. Explorer, not so thrilled about it, but it makes a lot of sense that if Google is putting a lot of money behind it, chances are it's going to become reality. Anyway, service workers, I've got a little link on the website where you can go over to developers at Google and learn all about it. It's basically JavaScripts that allow us to control sometimes network resources or resources on the computer. The thing that really gets used for nowadays for the most part is name and content, keywords. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to put, this is mostly meta. I'm now talking to the browser or to the web server, i.e. about refresh, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I'm going name is equal to keywords, and then you can go ahead and put keywords. and then go ahead and put your content as to what you do, what your website's about. The search engine will then put this in and use it in their context. The first couple of pages, what you put in here in your name, will show up in the first couple of lines of your entry into Google. Okay, you don't necessarily have to. I think by default it's 175 characters that you put in. It'll just take the first couple of 175 characters and use that as the entry to your website. So just to make you aware of it, you can go ahead and with Chrome and some others, you can go check out other people's web pages. You'll see how people set up their meta commands. It's just an additional option for you just to be aware of. Next thing I want to talk about, though, is iframes. Iframes is, we talked a little bit, but I shouldn't have talked about this in video. Here's your second option with video. Hey, I want to put a little video in the lower left-hand corner. Again, iframes get used a lot by basically advertisers. You can put, so therefore I can put a web page inside a web page or put a video inside a web page without the JavaScript. Remember, I think in my sound and video, you could go click onto, like I clicked onto a music video. A lot of times your second option simply is to put it into an iframe. So an iframe is much like a picture. It comes with a border by default, but let's go ahead and set something up. So I'm going to do /p, skip a line there. Now iframes, again, you get the idea. Source is equal to, here you just put in your website, whatever you want. HTTP colon, we'll just do Yahoo, www.yahoo.com. Okay, and then you can go ahead and put in your iframe. Now you can control its height, its width, etc. Oops, iframe. And this can be a YouTube video. You know, it's pretty straightforward. So, you know, oops, iframe / bracket iframe. So Control S, refresh, and then I get an iframe and Yahoo should load. Oops, why aren't you doing that? Now by default you get this. I can remove these options with the scroll. Why do the scrolls appear? Because the web page, the iframe is too small for the web content to control, but you can control that. Let's double check on my, let me see if I've spelled Yahoo. HTTP did /www. Looks right. WWOOZ. This is what I did for my, maybe something to do with the Chrome, with browsers. But that web page should load. HTTP. It looks right. HTTP /source. I think this may be an Explorer issue because I noticed that I'm going to go ahead and Control C. I'm going to check if this is an Explorer issue. Control V, load it directly, and it does work. So I do not know. Okay. HTTPS, maybe that was it converted to. Again, HTTPS /www.yahoo.com Control S, refresh, and then go back. Now, why do I get this ABC? Oh, okay, it's a local drive. ABC is my local drive. Anyway, I know it worked before. I remember it just worked the other day, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. iframes is relatively simple. Check my notes. You can change your source. You can change your sandbox. Sandbox put some security restrictions on what gets displayed. Again, it does not have to be a web page. It could be a YouTube video. Again, what we did with video in the last lesson, I could throw in a YouTube video here and it will play in that box. Okay, iframe, that's about it. I think on my notes I put in a little Twitter feed. Sometimes it's a fake Twitter button. I have not done that this year. It did work last year, but just make sure that it works. Next thing I want to do is talk about APIs. APIs allow us to take, besides the standard HTML, which at this time you guys have a pretty good working of, a good feel of. I want to talk about other APIs that we can end up doing. So let's go ahead and start with the basics. I always use Maps. Hey, Korea, I want to use Google Maps on my web page. So let's go ahead, and what you need is just a local key, API key. This means that, and you can use, if you set this up on Google Sites, a lot of times they'll want a URL as you apply for one time I was a Facebook, a Yahoo, and I had a number for one other. I forgot. But anyway, so let's go ahead. Go to get a Google's Developer API. Use a lot of times if they want a URL, set something up cheesy in Google Sites. See if they'll take it. I have not tried, and a lot of times they will have sort of a API key that you can use for demo purposes, but they'll halt that if you use that key too often. They just want to control how many people are making calls to that. So prevent for security reasons. So you don't actually slow down the entire site as you make a million calls to APIs for JavaScript. So anyway, guys, here's a simple Maps API. Relatively simple. I generally lecture on this. I'm not going to go ahead and do it. I can have pink roads, yellow, green. I can control churches. I can control what gets displayed, etc. It is all just one. Internally, it's just one honking database. And you have to use latitude, longitude. But again, here's your API key. You can see the documentation on how to do it. Now, API keys are like you got a Facebook API. You've got let me see if I thought I had one. Yeah, here, Facebook API. Let me bring that over here as well. So a lot of times they'll also have the Facebook for developer, Google for developers. You can go ahead and get these Facebook. Let's look at what they got for products. They used to have React, which was a library, AI research, on the globe, Facebook pixels, marketing, places, pages API, login API. Okay. I think you can hear the announcements. So time to leave real quickly. I do want to show you what's going to happen in the future. I'm sorry I can't find React. I thought, oh, here, React. Click here, overview. So these are a series of JavaScript libraries that you can do. So you can call, rather than write them yourself, you can go ahead and call some of these applications. That'd be something you'd want to do in Facebook. The other thing is, I want to show where it's getting. It used to be that Google Earth also had an API, but what's happening with some of these bigger programs with huge tons of data, that were not making APIs. They actually disabled the API for Google Engine Earth. What it is now is going here to where you go as task manager, sort of integrated development environment. And then you go ahead, get a link, a URL to that script. Once you run the script inside the code editor, then you can link it to your web page. You've got a lot more control because it's obviously just a single call with just some options is not going to cut it, especially with Google Earth as to what you can lay in, where you can zoom, etc., etc. So anyway, just a quick breakdown of APIs. I'm hoping maybe not next year, because I think I'm going to try to do a Blender tutorials, Blend Engine tutorial, and Blender entire 1 year tutorial on Blender. Next year I do want to go grid in HTML. We haven't covered that. It doesn't work in Explorer 10. The other thing I want to talk about is get an intro to JavaScript. For those who are really technically interested, go ahead, check out job listings on Facebook or something like that. You'll find that most everyone wants you to have a really deep knowledge of JavaScript. So I'd like to be able to extend that to JavaScript. Number two, Notepad++ has just been approved for here within DoD. I've got it on my computer. Because I got it halfway through the year, I just stayed with Notepad. Notepad++ gives us some programs as an editor we can do for a series of languages. I'll probably use that next time I do these tutorials. Anyway, you've got you've got a good background in HTML. Expand on it. Go out, reach other programs: Facebook, Google Maps, Google Docs, Google Developer. Find something that grabs your interest. GitHub, also a source of some things. I'm hoping that Microsoft would, just as this video is getting shot, Microsoft bought GitHub, and Johnny. My fear is it gets less accessible, but I don't know. Maybe we will. Anyway, just check it out. Thanks for following along the course. Wish you the best of luck in the future.